Hey, welcome to Reviews on the Run. We have some of the biggest names in games. We've got Burnout, Virtua Fighter, Command & Conquer. We got your attention? Today on Reviews on the Run, Tommy and I are taking a look at Virtua Fighter 5, NBA Street Home Court, Burnout Dominator, and in Versus, it's Supreme Commander against Command & Conquer 3, Tiberium Wars. Some of the games we look at on Reviews on the Run are intended for a mature audience. Please pay attention to each game's ESRB rating. All right, let's get things started here with a look at Virtua Fighter 5 from Sega for the PlayStation 3. It is coming out for the Xbox 360. What did you think of Virtua Fighter 5, developed by the AM2 gang out there, but not with Yu Suzuki? This is the first one that Yu Suzuki is not a part of because he split off.
Right. I gotta tell you, I think it should be mentioned that this game is getting extremely high reviews.
I noticed that.
Online.
Yeah.
And I don't know what game they're playing. Are we playing the wrong version?
It's a robust game.
Fighter 5,
there is
right?
a lot of content. You can customize your characters and you can unlock all kinds of stuff. There is a lot of gameplay in there. Well, just to buck the trend, and because we hate all of the online reviewers, we're gonna give this game a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying. The reviews.
The reviews.
Everybody's
very high.
effusive. Everybody thinks this is just a fantastic.
Are they effusive?
Effusive.
Very effusive.
Overly effusive, overly congratulatory, overly.
Very effusive. You know effusive, right? Effusive.
Yeah, effusive. Yeah. I played the game. I thought, it looks pretty good.
Did you really?
I thought it looked pretty good.
I thought the backgrounds were cool.
The backgrounds were okay.
Snowy mountains were cool.
I thought the characters looked a little mannequin-ish.
And glossy. They got like shellac.
Yeah, they got the plastic
coat
kind of thing going on.
The animation seemed a little stiff and slow to me too.
What's going on? It should have just looked so beautiful and flowing and perfect.
One of the things I do like though is that they do some great cloth movement stuff.
That monk guy, I forget what his name is unbelievable.
The cloth is really well done, I thought.
I love him.
But again, why isn't the rest of it? Why aren't the facial expressions as they grimace in pain? None of it's there. This is a PlayStation 3. This is supposed to be next gen. This is not next gen. I mean, the graphics, the backgrounds are beautiful.
Yeah, it's the best looking Virtua Fighter game, but when you think back to how great Virtua Fighters have looked in your memory, they all looked great. So this doesn't really look any better than what you remember Virtua Fighter to look like. Remember the first time Virtua Fighter hit the Dreamcast? How impressive that thing looked?
First 3D fighting game.
Yeah, well, on the Saturn it was on the Saturn, even back on the Genesis, but on the Dreamcast it really felt like with VF3 that they really had jumped to the next level. But this doesn't feel like it's really pushing any boundaries whatsoever.
No.
The fighting still feels exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
There's no real kind of like extra kind of levels or details going on in the environment.
Like Dead or Alive 4.
In all honesty, Dead or Alive 4 didn't really feel like it was pushing any boundaries either, but I did like the fact that you could, be on one level and kick and punch your way down to another level and continue fighting. I always liked that, and I thought that the visuals in Dead or Alive 4 were comparable to what we're seeing here in Virtua Fighter 5.
Exactly. And wait, hold on. You want to talk about Dead or Alive 4?
Yeah.
They had online
I know
play,
they did. They had a pretty robust online play. And this doesn't, and there is no damn excuse for that.
There's no online play at all. This is a next generation
2007
fighting game. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I know.
You should be ashamed.
It's a solid game, but it could have been so much more. And this is one of the landmark series out there in all the video games, and I just feels sort of half-assed to me.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't take you into next generation. You just can't upgrade the backgrounds and make the characters a little better and basically have the same exact engine, same exact gameplay.
What are you going to give Virtua Fighter 5?
I'm giving it a 7.
I'm giving it a 6.5.
On the positive side, the backgrounds are gorgeous. Lots of things to unlock and customize your characters with. And for all you Virtua Fighter freaks out there, if you loved the series before, it's more of the same in terms of gameplay.
On the negative side, it's more of the same in terms of gameplay. There's no online play, which is ridiculous. Some of the animations of the characters feel very dated and stiff. And overall, even though there are some things in this game that we really like, it doesn't feel like we're really jumping into the next generation at all. All right, let's see here. We got traffic that you can blow apart. We got buildings that come crashing down. We have all kinds of environmental traps. We have machine guns on the sides of cars, rockets, mines that you can lay. So what we must be talking about here is full auto, right? Well, it's Full Auto 2 Battle Lines on the PSP from Deep Fried Entertainment, the first game from these guys. And I gotta say, I really like this game on the PSP. It's a good handheld game. It's mindless. You don't feel like any kind of brainiac when you're playing this game because you're really just blowing away everything you can see on screen. There's all kinds of different kind of circuit modes. You've also got an arena mode, which is very much like Twisted Metal. The game reminds me of Twisted Metal. It reminds me of Twisted Metal, but with more racing. And you get that cool unwreck feature, which just pulls back time, and you can go to before you were all smashed up, which is always fun. Full Auto 2 Battle Lines on the PSP, it's solid. 7.5 out of 10. All right, stick around. We have another sequel after the break. It's NBA Street Home Court from Electronic Arts. Don't go away. Buried Treasure is brought to you by Rogers Video. The experience starts here. Hey, I wanted to draw your attention to something. Before Sega releases all kinds of Sonic games on the Virtual Console for the Wii, you may want to check out Sonic Gems Collection for the GameCube, which is also playable on your Wii. Now, it doesn't have the classic Genesis games on this collection, but it does have Sonic CD, which was part of the Sega CD add-on that you would have to buy for your Genesis. It was the best Sega CD game that came out, and the Sonic CD gameplay is actually really good. It still stands up, looks sweet, great music. Sonic R, terrible, terrible game for the Sega Saturn. It's almost as bad as Sonic the Hedgehog for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, if you know what I'm talking about. Now, there's 6 other Sonic Game Gear games on here. None of them kind of like hold up in the looks department, but the gameplay's still pretty solid. Make sure you check this out for the GameCube, because you could probably get this disc with 9 games on it for the price of 1 Virtual Console game on your Wii. It's Sonic Gems Collection. So if you ever talked to anybody that's ever skeptical about even sports games being artistic, all you gotta do is show them NBA Street Home Court from EA Sports. This game is unbelievable. I think this is the, could be the slickest title that EA Sports Big has ever put out, man.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
Fantastic game.
I mean, remember when NBA Jam first hit the scene in the arcades? Yeah. It was like a big deal.
Totally.
This is what this game is doing for the genre now.
Yeah, it's revolutionizing. It's definitely bringing this into the next generation.
Absolutely.
You know what it's all about, though? It's
the motion capture.
Animations.
Animations
out of
and
control.
motion capture.
Yeah.
But it's all about the jams, and you do the most amazing slam dunks you've ever...
Double dunks.
Triple dunks. They have triple dog dare dunks.
I know. When you go into the Game Breaker mode, you can actually dunk 3 times and get the 3 points.
Completely unrealistic. Everybody is like they're in Crackdown or something, because they jump up really high.
They're superheroes. Yeah. I love it. You know what I really dug about this game, though, is that they kind of had a Spike Lee in the neighborhood kind of vibe to the artistic kind of flavor and style to it. It's like it's old movies from the 70s or something like that.
That was the one problem I had with the game.
I liked it though, man.
It's like it had like a sepia tone to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's like
it was shot on old movie cameras or something like that.
Yeah, but the entire game.
I thought it was cool. I love the music too. It had like Jackson 5s in there.
But what about the trash talking?
Excellent.
That was unbelievable. Yeah,
great really acting by the different voice actors that played all the different roles.
Son. Get up, D.
Now you do have a pretty thin selection of gameplay modes, and that's one of the probably only complaints about it. The challenge mode, which I dug, I thought that was pretty cool, is that you can play all these different teams that are made up. Sometimes they're with real NBA players, sometimes they're street players, sometimes they're just manufactured. There's actually WNBA players in the game too, which is great. And they each have their own...
we all know them.
Well, they each have their own specific requirements. Sometimes you have to win by 21, sometimes it's just jumpers, sometimes it's all dunks, sometimes you've got to, take off all the kind of the game breaker moves and stuff like that. And, you're basically just beating the different teams that you come across to have access to the player pool so you can bring them onto your team. You're constantly changing your players as you progress through the challenge mode.
You even have this freaky mode where you can combine players.
Oh, and like create a player?
Create a player mode.
Very weird. That is very freaky. Very bizarre, because you actually take 2 player faces, and then with the sliders you can move things around, and then you get sort of this hodgepodge, and yeah, you can create some very odd looking characters for sure. this lifts your spirits, man. It's a great game. You just want a little more of it. Definitely, if you've ever been a fan of NBA Jam or the Street Series, you gotta pick this up.
Yep.
I'm giving NBA Street home court 9 out of 10.
8.5 for me.
On the positive side, the animations are just out of this world cool. You gotta check them out. Although it's freaky, the creative player is pretty robust. Would have liked some more modes, but the challenge mode is actually really fun. And as good as the graphics are, the audio, including the music, sound effects, and trash talking, is some of the best we've ever heard in any sports game.
On the negative side, there's not a lot of variety in the different game modes. And although the sepia tone is kind of cool, I just wish there was an option to maybe turn it on or off or only have it in special situations.
Hey, stick around. It's another big game after the break. We're looking at Burnout Dominator. Don't go away. All right, so I've been playing this new puzzler on the DS. It's called Trion Cube or Trion Cube. I don't know, it's Trion Cube. And it's a puzzle game that seems to borrow from a whole bunch of different other games. If you've ever played Tetris before, you know exactly what you're getting into here. Although it's kind of like they made Tetris for kids, because it's really simple, it's very easy. Basically what you're trying to do, instead of just trying to clear the lines sort of one by one or up to 4 and get that Tetris special move thing, this time you're actually just stacking them all up together and trying to get like this chain reaction combo thing. So you try to fill as much of the screen as you possibly can, and then you connect it to the sides of the puzzle shape, and everything explodes, and you get more points, and then you work your way along. It's just the gameplay, it just leaves me flat. There's none of that nail-biting, really cool, tense puzzle action that you get in the best puzzle games. It's just not much to get me excited about. I'm gonna give Trion Cube for the DS a 5 out of 10. All right, we're back. We're talking about one of our favorite series. In fact, the last 2 times we looked at this game, we both gave it straight 10s.
Both,
Burnout 3 Takedown and Burnout Revenge.
Only time that's ever happened in history of the show.
We have a new one. It's called Burnout Dominator.
Will this one get a 10 as well?
Yeah, that's a big question. Burnout Dominator is PS2 exclusive. They also have a PSP version of the game.
Right.
And
guess that doesn't make it exclusive.
well, in terms of the consoles. But EA UK developed this game, and it's kind of a stopgap because they're working on next gen, Burnout 5 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
And herein lies kind of the problem for me is that, you know, you don't need this version when we've already come out with
There's a lot of fans out there for Burnout.
There is, but let's wait to the next gen. This is my problem with the game industry now. Come on, fellas.
Just wait for next year. But listen, there's a lot of people that thought that Burnout 3 and Burnout 4 kind of took the Burnout series in a kind of a cartoony, even less realistic kind of slant than it started out, which we both loved. And Burnout Dominator is kind of a game for them. They took out the traffic checking. That was a big part of Burnout 4. So now even if you're hitting cars that are going in the same direction as you, your car's going to get totaled in Burnout Dominator. They also took out the crash mode, which is a bit strange. It seems like there's a theme with Virtua Fighter 5 and Burnout is they kind of take out stuff. And even in NBA Street, let's take out some of the things that we've innovated on in the past.
They also even took out the online mode.
Yeah, there's no online
online, which they had the last 2 years.
You get split screen in Burnout Dominator, so if you got somebody over there, you can play racing.
So basically what they've done is they've taken out all the really fun, over-the-top bits.
They've taken off a lot of the extra cool content. No crash mode's a big deal. But what they've done is they've made this one more of a focus on racing and finding shortcuts and still win all kinds of trophies and unlock new kinds of areas to race around in.
You can smash cars into barriers and things that open up shortcuts, and there's multiple shortcuts sometimes on the level. And all the tracks are designed more like for racing as opposed to
like in Burnout 2,
crashing into everything.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Now they want you to do lots of cool drifts. They want you to keep your finger on the boost button so you can earn burnouts as much as you can, which goes back to a few generations ago.
And you have to keep linking them together and linking them together. Now, it is important to note that this is not the same developer who got the previous 10s from us.
Yeah, it's not Criterion, but
they're working on Burnout 5 for PS3 and 360.
It's still EA UK though, and I'm sure Criterion was looking over the shoulder here. It's using the Burnout Revenge tech, so it's a beautiful looking game. Yeah, all the sounds are great. The music is cool.
Awesome.
You know, it's not like Burnout Dominator's bad. If you bought those other games, you have your PlayStation 2. That's the only system you have. You want to keep the Burnout tradition going on year after year, you're still going to have a good time with this, but I don't think this is going to have the staying power. What are you going to give Burnout Dominator?
I'm giving it an 8.
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
On the positive side, this game is still very high energy and super quick. The graphics are excellent, the sound design and music is great, and linking up the boost to earn burnouts is pretty fun.
On the negative side, there's no online play. They took out Crash Mode, and virtually all of the innovations that we loved in Burnout 3 and Burnout Revenge have been stripped out, so this game feels a little bit thin. All right, today in hardware, we're looking at Logitech's Chill Stream controller for the PlayStation 3. We've looked at these for other consoles and the PC before.
Now, this is a controller that blows you while you're playing.
That's right. It blows cool air on you and keeps your hands from being all sweaty, which
That's
is...
another way to put it, I guess.
Yeah, it is. That's the way they'd like us to put it.
I prefer my method.
It plugs into the USB ports on your PlayStation 3. It's not a wireless controller. You have to have the thing plugged in. One thing that I got a problem with is there's no PlayStation button in the middle, the central button that takes you back to the menus. So,
or how you turn it on and off,
which is ridiculous. Like, why would they forget that? You can change the fan speed.
You can change the speed of the blow.
So they added the fan to the device, so it's a little bit bulkier than some of the other controllers, especially the 6-axis controller.
This is my big problem, is that there's this big kind of squarish.
It's clunky.
Metal thing in the back.
Yeah, oh yeah. So how's the fan?
Metal grating. In fact, you can actually grate cheese.
Right.
On the back, and I'm not even kidding.
You can.
I mean, if I'm feeling like a nice fine Gouda.
Or some Edam.
I think then this would come in handy.
Okay. You gonna recommend the Logitech Chill Stream?
I mean, you put it down your pants if you have some swamp crotch, but other than that, I'm not going to recommend it.
I'm not recommending it either, and I don't even want to know what swamp crotch is. Stick around, we got a versus for you after the break. We got a big one. It's real-time strategy monsters. Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars going up against Supreme Commander. Don't go away. You're still laughing about that bad joke. It's terrible. Welcome to the hit list. Here are 5 of our favorite racers where you go boom. Number 5, Excite Truck. Number 4, Full Auto 2 Battle Lines. Number 3, Motorstorm. Number 2, Burnout 3 Takedown. And number 1, Burnout Revenge. Hey, welcome back. We've got 2 huge real-time strategy games to talk about in Versus today. We've got Supreme Commander from Gas Power Games, THQ, going up against Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars from Electronic Arts. All right, graphics, how do they stand up against each other here?
Well, I think that the CNC game has a lot of really cool effects and, more realistic backgrounds.
Because it's a little more kind of hemmed in, right? It's more confined. There's kind of an artificial ceiling. It's in the vein of the Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth and Command & Conquer Generals. It's like the 3D distillation. Everything that team has learned over the last few years.
Distillation.
Yeah, they've actually got to a point where they've really got this very well refined. But Supreme Commander, on the other hand, is about scale. It's about epic, enormous battles. You can zoom right out
and literally see hundreds and hundreds of things going on. Now, the other thing we have to talk about, if we're talking about graphics, are the god-awful movie actor cutscenes that they've put.
They got Billy D. Williams, they got Michael Ironside, Josh Holloway from Lost,
Sounds
Trisha Helfer,
good, doesn't it?
And Grace Park from Battlestar Galactica. It's like they got all
Sounds like it's a good cast.
Fanboy nerd kind of characters that you could ever want in one game.
And boy, did they screw that up.
They got them acting against green screens and playing directly to the camera, and it's very tough to pull that off.
Nod's just taken out the entire northeastern ASAT defense system, all our anti-missile capability.
So,
So what did you like better? Did you like the more kind of detail-oriented, minute details of CNC, or did you like the epic scale and scope of Supreme Commander?
I mean, if you talk just basically graphics and visual stuff,
they have pretty cool cutscenes in Supreme, too.
I gotta see CNC for me, but...
Yeah, I like Supreme Commander. All right, now audio, how did these two compare? Of course, we just mentioned all the amazing actors that are in the game, and
That's right.
they are good actors.
Yeah,
they are good actors.
They're good actors, just not in this property.
And they've been recorded well. Their audio is sounding crisp and distinct and clean.
Well,
I like the EA sound effects.
The performances just weren't that
Performances aren't very good.
Right.
But
no, the sound
music
effects
is cool. I thought CNC sounded pretty damn hot, actually.
Well, I think they both did. I mean, there's no, you know, you can't say one of them was so much better than the other one. You know,
Well,
they're pretty much on the same par.
I think they're pretty close, but I'm going to give it to EA's CNC. Who are you going to give it to?
I'm going to give it a tie.
A tie. All right. Now, what about in terms of gameplay? Obviously, we've mentioned one of the big differences in the gameplay is the fact that you can zoom out in Supreme Commander. They're both real-time strategy games. They both deal with some kind of resource management, although Supreme Commander, it's definitely less of an issue because the whole thing there is to grow your army as quickly as possible and have as many units as possible. But really, in CNC, the gameplay is a lot quicker because everybody races to have sort of the nuclear weapon or the ion cannon and then destroy the other guy's base as quickly as possible. Whereas in Supreme Commander, there's a lot more micromanagement and dealing with as many different units as possible. Are you hooking up with somebody over there?
Oh, no, go. Keep going.
We're talking about RTS games here.
I'm very interested in what you're saying.
You can't stand these types of games.
Just like that.
Yeah.
No, the reality is that if you're looking for, you know, a lot of micromanagement, Supreme Commander is more your bag. If you're looking
Save often. It's a very hard game.
If you're looking for more like quick battle type things where you get into it and it's all about attacking and there's no defense, then you're probably going to like CNC.
So which game did you have more fun playing then?
Is neither an option?
Neither is not an option.
Oh, okay.
I know you hate real-time strategy. These are two of the best real-time strategy games ever made.
They look pretty. Hey, if you like real-time strategy games, don't listen to me.
You probably own both of these already.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with CNC.
I'm going for Supreme Commander. I think they're both fantastic, but I like playing Supreme Commander. I love being able to zoom out. Added a whole new dimension to the tactical gameplay. All right, overall, which game did you like better?
CNC.
All right. Overall, I like Supreme Commander a little bit more. What are you going to give Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars?
7.
7 out of 10. All right, I'm going to give that one an 8.5. What about Supreme Commander?
6.5.
Giving that one a 9. So there you have it, 2 brand new, fantastic real-time strategy games. Based on our scores and how we kind of feel about real-time strategy games, we're kind of at a tie with this one. So if you want more depth, probably going for Supreme Commander. If you want more fast action, probably going for Command & Conquer. Today on the show, Tommy and I took a look at Virtua Fighter 5. The backgrounds are great, you can have fun with the fighting, but there's no online play, and the experience doesn't feel next-gen at all. NBA Street Home Court. The animations are incredible and it's a blast to play with friends, but this game really needed some more modes. Burnout Dominator. The sense of speed and the sounds are great, but the game is really lacking some of the innovations of the previous 2 Burnout games, which is disappointing. In Versus, it was Supreme Commander. The sense of scale is unbelievable, but there's quite a bit of micromanagement to contend with. Against Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars. The gameplay is a little more fast-paced and the details in the environments are great, but the cheesy green screen acting is back in full force. We came up tied on this one. The good news is that both RTS games are very good and quite different from each other, so give them both a try. The Rogers Video Game of the Week is NBA Street Home Court.
If so, you're going to have to lift your leg and pee on this.
If we give it straight 10s, I got to pee on this in public.
No, if you don't.
If we don't, I got to...
Yeah.
Either way, it's not looking good.
Either way, you got to pee.
The one major bone of contention I have with this thing is that there's no...
What's the bone with the blowing
there's
controller?
There's some words you just never use when Tommy's around, and I just found one.